Okay. I think we kick it off. We have more than 50 people in the room. So hello, everyone. Welcome to the first demo day around Sustainable Development Goals organized by Google, focusing on continental Europe. We had last week the first one for Africa. This is the first one with the European startups. And I'm very excited to present to all of you the startups that are part of our program. And I'll briefly explain a little bit more what actually is part of our program before we dive into all the fantastic pitches. So you should see my slides by now. Thumbs up from someone if that's the case. Perfect. So let me get started now. So as said, welcome everyone. Welcome to all the startups that will pitch today, and welcome to all the investors from, I think, around the world who will join today and are very keen to listen. We will, after the welcome that I just did, give you a brief overview of the program before we dive straight into the pitches. So just very crisp, because like investors here in the room, I think you're not all aware of the program that we have in Google. So to get a bit of context before we let the 20 startups pitch what they're doing. Rules, very straightforward. Startups will pitch for maximum 3 minutes, and we have time for 1 to 2 questions afterwards. Whoever who has a question, feel free to just unmute and speak up. If you don't have any questions, please be on mute. And generally, as you know, please be patient with us with technical difficulties. We have good amount of people presenting from their own screen. There's always a few things that can go wrong. From my end, if you have any questions to this whole program, feel free to reach out to me afterwards if you want to know more details. And for the investors here in the room, we will obviously share all the contact information from all the startups that are presenting today with you afterwards. Okay, what is the Google SDG program? So we basically, as Google, want to empower social impact startups on a global level. And you all know the UN SDG program. If you work in this space, there are 17 different pillars that you can generally say try to make the world a better place and try to address a lot of the challenges and problems that we're facing in today's world. And all the startups that present today work in one of those pillars or even in several of them. We launched our program in Google roughly a year ago, and we have now more than 300 startups globally in the program who are coming from 60 different countries. And we do a lot of mentoring sessions and had already a good amount of great success stories. So what are the requirements for startups to join this program? Might be one of the questions that you ask as an investor. SDG focus is one of the requirements. Another one, we're Google, we love technology, is that there's a technological aspect to it, and see how this could potentially leverage technology to achieve some of those goals. And what is also important to highlight, the startups are for-profit startups across different growth stages, but it's not some charity or NGO-related effort. Is really trying to combine the best of 2 worlds. And we also obviously want to make sure that this is a serious startup that has full-time resources committed to it. What do we offer for startups? Mentorship is one of the key pillars, where basically startups get access to Google employees and also to some selected external advisors who can help them, hopefully, in most of the questions they come up with during their journey. We also try, whenever it comes up as an opportunity, to see if from a technological point of view we can build bridges and help with our scalable solutions to accelerate their growth. And there's a couple of other community broader efforts that we do with our startups, like workshops, for example, and events. And a lot more is hopefully to come. The demo day is here today, for example, one that we pilot, and we'd like to see to what extent this is a format that is of interest for startups and for investors. We are partnering with a lot of ecosystem players here. We have more than 100 partners around the world in the space who help us with workshop, with content, connecting us with startups and partners. But we also would be happy to discuss with you if you see any interesting areas for collaboration that could go into multiple different directions on event participation or working together on startups, bringing them into the program and see how we could innovate and help to accelerate startups working in these different areas to grow and make progress to address a lot of those issues that are part of the 17 pillars. So who's in the room today? We have a lot of investors joining us today, which is really, really great to hear. And yeah, welcome everyone. So we have a good representation from multiple markets and looking after startups in different sizes. And these are the startups that we'll pitch today. So we have 20 different startups pitching today from 8 different countries in all the different areas that are like part of the 17 pillars that I mentioned. This is a running order. So we start with 10, have a 2-3 minute bio break before we move on to the second round. So we have for each of the session 2 to 3 minutes pitch and then questions if you have some to just briefly discuss if you have something urgent and see if we can get more insights out of each startup. With that, I'll stop sharing my screen and we go now straight into the pitches. And we kick off with the first one, which is Luis.
Hello, can you hear me well?
Yes.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, you can go ahead.
The Fosen Wind Park in Norway, second largest wind park in Europe, a 1.1 billion euro investment. In 2016, 5 days into construction, the protest started. The construction affected the reindeer ecosystem, vital for the Sami people. Fast forward to October last year, the Supreme Court of Norway declared the construction illegal. More than 150 wind turbines may be torn down. This should have never happened, if only the stakeholders involved had the right communication and management tools. The fact is that green infrastructure projects are very complex. Those in charge need to gather and make sense of lots of geodata to understand the site. 80% of the time is spent on that. It's not only data. They need to deal with a constellation of local stakeholders who have different interests and different values. On top of that, they are using old-fashioned tools like emails, PDFs, and spreadsheets, which are not effective enough to deal with the complexity of these projects. The result is too much time spent on gathering data, bottlenecks in decisions, and increased risks. And that is why we started Surplus Map. We are a green planning software based on a map where our customers find critical geointelligence in one place and have a simple and visual way to collaborate with key stakeholders, sharing critical geodata using a map. Think of it as Google Maps with the collaborative aspects of sharing documents in Google Docs, designed specifically for the green shift. The goal is to help our customers address critical risks to the projects early on, such as access to the power grid or a heading route of the Sami, ensuring local acceptance, reducing risk, and accelerating decisions. Last year, 755 billion euros were invested in green transition projects. This is an enormous opportunity for Surplus Map, starting in Europe, our home market, looking at energy independence as a top priority. To impact that market, we have an agile SaaS business model based on a 3 to 5 year subscriptions, which is the time it takes to plan these projects, combined with an usage-based scalable pricing to cater to both small and large customers. We have validated our approach through our work with a hydropower utility, helping them to identify and plan sites to build a green battery factory in Norway. And we are also working on a project in India that maps out surplus energy for green hydrogen production. Actually, Surplus Map received a prize from the European Space Program for an innovative approach to the use of satellite data and AI for green planning. We are creating a great ecosystem around those with fantastic investors like Techstars and strategic R&D partners. Today, Surplus Map is a software for planning and management. We reduce risks and accelerate green projects. We take open source official data and we turn it into climate action intelligence. But critical geodata is not always available around the world. Our vision is to be a space tech company. With our expertise in AI and using satellite data, we are creating unique data sets. Our customers will have, with that, the best intelligence to implement green projects better, faster, anywhere in the world. My name is Luis, CEO of Surplus Map. We're an international team of remote sensing data scientists, mapping experts, and experienced executives with scale-up experience. We are raising funds, and I will be very glad to share more about our vision and our team. Thanks. We are Surplus Map.
Great. Thank you so much, Luis. Really nice to see, especially a long-term vision that you have in mind. Anyone in the audience here up for a question? Maybe then briefly one from my end. How many customers do you currently have already?
We currently have 2 customers that we are using as a proof of concept. We are also working with, we are sitting now at Equinor's offices in Norway. So we are working on a potential bigger scale project with Equinor, which I cannot talk too much about it right now.
Okay. Okay, thank you so much, Luis. Moving on to the next one, Driad from Germany. Carsten, are you here in the room or someone else from the team?
Yes, I'm in the room. Hello.
Hey, Carsten.
Hi. Yeah, my name is Carsten Brinkschott. I'm co-founder and CEO of Driad Networks. We're an impact for profit, and we're focusing on ultra-early detection of wildfires. We've chosen wildfires as the main area of activity because they have so much impact potential. Wildfires are causing 6 to 8 billion tons of CO2 emissions each year, about 20% of the global CO2 emissions, about the same amount that the entire traffic puts into the air, and humans are about 80% responsible for those wildfires. There's also a huge loss of biodiversity with more than 3 billion animals losing their life. And unfortunately, you can say there is also a financial damage, which is huge at about 140 billion. Fortunately, I'm saying ironically, because that enables us to create a profitable business model for technology addressing wildfires. Now, of course, we're not the only company doing wildfire detection. There are satellites, cameras in the air looking down at wildfires, but these take several hours for detecting wildfires. We focused on what we call ultra-early detection. Within the first 60 minutes after someone throws a cigarette, we want to ring the alarm bells and direct the firefighters. We've done this using an end-to-end solution of hardware and software that we've developed. So we've got solar-powered gas sensors that we place into the forest that use built-in AI in the sensors to detect wildfires reliably. We're building a communications infrastructure, solar-powered again, based on LoRaWAN, which we place into the forest that enables the sensors to communicate even in the remotest areas. We're building a mesh network infrastructure into the forest because we cannot rely on 4G or other network infrastructure being present. So we're building a telecommunications IoT network in areas which is completely unconnected, enabling our sensors and third-party sensors to communicate. Our focus on the business model is to sell to private forestry, municipalities, as well as utilities, which are often causing wildfires with overland power lines when vegetation grows into them. We're also partnering with insurance companies because they're being hit with about $10 billion of insurance losses due to wildfires each year. We've worked for 2 years on the product. We're just starting to introduce it. We're targeting about 700,000 euros revenue this year. We're about 20 people right now, 7 co-founders. We've raised 5 million euros so far, and we're doing a Series A right now. Now, we're an impact for profit. So not only do we want to be profitable, but we also want to have a clear impact. With our 30 million sensors that we project to deploy by 2030, we will prevent about 1.4 million hectares of forest from burning. And with this, we project to save about 600 million tons of CO2 emissions and 85 million animals from perishing in those fires. Thank you. And that's Driad.
Thank you, Carsten. Great startup and activity that you're working on. Any questions from the audience to Carsten?
Seems to be a clear presentation then, I think.
How many sensors do you need per hectare in a forest? But please.
Yeah, that's a good question. About one sensor can do about 5 hectares. So 0.2 sensors per hectare.
And Carsten, how much is that for, like, what's the price per hectare?
Yeah, a sensor is about 48 euro, so it's really low cost. It translates at about 15 euro per hectare. And we've got an annual subscription fee of 15% of the original hardware.
Who are your buyers as you grow? But you are selling this too.
We're selling this to private forestry, to municipalities that need to protect the wildland urban interface and the damages that wildfires are causing, as well as utilities, in particular electricity companies, which are causing wildfires with their overland power lines.
Thanks.
Great. Thank you so much. Have to move on, unfortunately, to the next one. But yeah, if there are more questions, obviously we'll share the contact details, and definitely please encourage you to have the conversation afterwards. Moving on to Mercens from France. Slides are already up. Moran, please share with us what you're doing. You're still on mute, by the way.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Let me introduce you Mercens. We are mostly tackling a major challenge in the world, which is the fact that 12 million people are dying every year because of our immediate environment. It's costing billions of dollars, and the carbon footprint, the carbon impact is just huge related to that. Be aware that 80% of chronic disease are mostly related to your immediate environment. This is no longer acceptable. We cannot just die for something where we can prevent. And at Mercens, we improve health and well-being. We save through preventions mostly, and we make the invisible visible. How does it work? We did a revolution to set health trajectory predictions around the world by bringing machine learning into epidemiology and connect the immediate environment to health. So in other words, we make the link between environment and health, and mostly to focus on two major priorities of sustainable development goals, which is number 3, about good health and well-being, and number 11, which is about sustainability, cities and communities. How do we do that? We model the immediate environment anywhere in the world. We have a resolution of 50 meters by 50 meters, and for sure, indoor, we can be very precise for each and every rooms inside buildings. Our platform, we are a data company, a B2B oriented company around SaaS platform and API. And for engaging stakeholders, we use applications and web app. That allows us to analyze the environment, monitor performance, anticipate environmental risk, and personalize by bringing and engaging stakeholders. Let me give you a concrete example. Today, for the construction business, we are able to assess the immediate environment around buildings and inside buildings to ensure that outdoor versus indoor are the proper environment with less impact for health for the different employees inside buildings or factories. We are based on norms and standards, and more regulations is pushing for making the invisible visible and giving the responsibilities to companies to ensure that the environment is safe for the employees. We also contribute well for the WELL certification label that is more and more popular for new buildings as well. Indoor also, we create optimization softwares that allows to, one hand, ensure that we have the right quality and environment inside, but in the same time, we are saving energy by optimizing the HVAC system related to the building. Well, for the stakeholders to engage and change behaviors, we have a set of different applications that allow us to engage those people to provide the right information to the right time at the right person through around 4 P: personalize, and participation. These are the tools and the ecosystem of our platform that allows a great success with some of our top key customers that we have. Today, we are 15 talents engaged. We are looking for a Series A. We have over 15 customers with an average of 50,000 euros of sales revenue per customers. And we are 2 co-founders. I'm Moran Reyuet, and I have a huge experience internationally in finance and sales. And Louis is in charge of, as a CTO of the tech part of our business activities. So together, let's make the world healthy again, and I would be very happy to answer any of your questions related to environment and health. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Moran. Any questions from Mercedes? Maybe then briefly from my end, any focus industry that you think is the biggest opportunity for you?
Well, our main focus today is mostly big corporates with CSR policies. That's our top key customers. But the one where we make the most revenue are the insurance companies. Just to give you an example, we just signed last Friday a 300K euro annual recurrent revenue for insurance companies about just prediction of risk related to immediate environment and health.
Caroline's asking, what are you measuring exactly?
Sorry?
What are you measuring exactly?
So we are measuring, so it's called the exposome, and in exposome, for sure, there is air quality, there is noise, light, comfort, pollen, UV. That I would say the hardcore general environmental things that we are measuring. And on the other side, we also measure what is the actual environment of the person. So is he doing sports? Is he drinking? Is he having some other habits? Is he having some other behaviors, in order to link this environment of the person to potential risk for health. And at the end, we help companies to avoid and reduce sick leaves and performance related to employees.
Great. Thank you so much, Moran.
Thank you, guys. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you.
Moving on to the next one, Reforesto from Spain. I see Alban, you're ready. Bringing up the slides. Perfect.
Can you see them all right?
I can see your slide. I can hear you. You can ready.
Amazing. Thank you so much. Hi, everyone. My name is Alban Bresson, and I'm a co-founder at Reforesto. And I'm going to show you something. This is a timer. It was set on 6 seconds. This is about how much time it takes every day, on average, for the equivalent of a football pitch size area in a primary rainforest to be lost. And this is truly what keeps us motivated on our mission at Reforesto to fight, to protect, and restore the world's forest ecosystems. The way we do that is by bringing together brands and their consumers in supporting forestry projects that they can trust. More specifically, consumers today demand more than generic claims about tree planting or net zero goals far in the future. They demand more transparency on climate efforts, and equally, regulators are piling pressures on brands and companies to show that their efforts are real and aligned with Paris climate goals. And therefore, there's a disconnect usually between, on one hand, expectations that are piling up on companies and what they're able to showcase to the world. This is why we built our solution at Reforesto, a platform where companies can first source projects that meet their criteria. These are forest-based projects, usually nature-based projects more generally. They're all certified carbon sequestration projects. The second step they typically take on our platform is to showcase this portfolio to their stakeholders using tools that we built, like forest profiles, and also using technology like AI combined with satellite imagery to verify the carbon claims are real. And last but not least, they involve their community in creating what we call net positive or nature positive communities with their consumers. The best proof for us that what we built has value is the customers, the B2B companies that trust us already, over 50 in total, both in terms of global brands that already use our platform, as well as global partners of which Google is a part. This translates, of course, into our revenues. We closed last year with over 250,000, and we did as much since the beginning of this year. So we're on track for over 4x in revenues this year, having already financed around 11 projects in 6 different countries. None of this would be possible without our team. We have complementary skill sets, starting with the co-founders, Diego, who has 15 years experience in building software solutions for enterprises, and on my side, 10 years experience in sustainability, as well as B2B SaaS sales. The market opportunity is real, is growing fast, $1 billion last year in voluntary carbon markets, and growing to $30 billion. With this year, my own timer setting, the competitor are there, but we think it's a good sign that our category is now on the map, and we're positioning ourselves both in terms of traceability and engagement. And last but not least, we're currently fundraising a seed round of 5 million, to be more specific, on the back of 750K raised already last year. Thank you very much.
Oh, Stefan, you are in mute.
We can't hear you, Stefan.
Now
Can I
it was
give the
me.
question, or are we out of time?
There was one question from Natalie. So how are you doing
Excellent.
verification?
So for verification, we both created our own algorithms to look notably at land use categorization for large scale projects like Vera projects. But importantly, we built that MRV brick so that we can partner up with other companies doing that for different kinds of projects. And that's how we think it's going to scale as we grow the number of projects on the platform.
Great. Thank you so much. More questions, feel free to reach out to Alban. Victoria, are you here?
Hi, I am.
Perfect. Share with us what Refresh Global is doing and what your vision is.
Yes. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I hope you will be able to see my screen now. But I will start while it's loading. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, just go on
Sorry.
slideshow mode.
Yeah, of course. 1 second. So I will start by saying that if those of you who have decided to work close today have actually contributed to the problem that we're solving at Refresh Global. But of course, you're not the only ones. We're all contributing to it, and even more so, many corporations around the world that work in the textile industry and even beyond that. And you can see the numbers for yourselves, what it means in terms of the financial loss and opportunity, and even more so, the impact it has on our lives and our environment. Now, of course, this is something that requires a solution, and this is why we at Refresh Global decided to take waste as a resource and convert it into high quality new raw materials. How do we do it, and why is it different from everything that exists today? We're tech-based. We are not doing it manually or mechanically, or not only like the way it's been done for dozens of decades until now in the recycling industry. Our solution is easy to replicate and can be adapted in a variety of markets, meaning we're an open loop and we're an end-to-end solution, which will save a lot of resources. Now, the EU has actually already understood this is a big problem. In less than 2.5 years, there's a regulation coming out which will forbid landfilling and incineration of textiles. So that means that they will impose circular economy on all the stakeholders involved. But I can assure you that most of them don't have a solution, definitely not like the one that we have invented, where we said, let's look at it from an end-to-end perspective, and let's take the stream of the textiles and sort it automatically with our partners. There is a technology like that already available, mechanically shred it into fibers, and then in step 4, with our proprietary technology, we'll be able to convert it into 3 new raw materials. How do they look like, those materials? So the natural fibers, they will be converted into an ethanol and a nanocellulose, which can be applied in many different industries, as you can probably see already. The synthetic fibers, too, will be able to go into the textile, but also furniture, construction, and much more. So basically what will happen, we will convert it in the microfactory and then sell it for a variety of different industries, and then help them replace their current materials that they're normally virgin-based or synthetic-based with fully compostable or recycled materials at a high quality. And of course, as an environmental startup, we're making sure to reduce CO2 at the maximum level, and of course also to save water, which is a very big problem in the industry. So this is us. We're a team that has worked for many years in the fashion industry and textiles, but also understand chemistry and how to run multinational products and projects. And we're actually growing, so we're happy to hire. We're hiring more people because we've just received part of our seed investment, and we're about to close our seed fundraising round. And these are just some of the coverage outlets that have actually covered our pilot, which I've completed already before we went on to scale our R&D. And very quickly, I'll show you some results. If you can see that, this is our first full-scale ethanol that you could actually drink and use for a lot of industries. So thank you very much. And we would love to collaborate with anybody that understands the problem as us.
Thank you so much, Victor. It's really great to see what you're trying to address here. Any questions from the audience? So Alejandro has a question. The way to scale is by opening more microfactories, correct?
Yes, but also the production in scale of our product. So I will just also again show them quickly in to the camera. This is the ethanol. This is the nanocellulose, and this is the fabric from the pulp. So we will be able to sell those in scale. The prices actually, even though these are commodities, are going up. And then ultimately there will be the microfactories that will be franchised or sold through joint ventures.
Great. Thank you so much, Victoria.
Thank you.
Switching gears, Nadia, we'll share with us what construction is doing.
Yeah. Hi, can you hear me?
Perfect.
Yeah, great. Hi, thank you so much. We are construction, and we 3D print the new generation of artificial reef, combining coastal protection and marine life restoration. Astrid and I are the co-founders. Here you go. Astrid and I are the co-founders, and we combine our decades of expertise as marine biologists and my expertise in 3D printing concrete technology with the goal to fulfill our missions. As you know, coral reefs, they are extremely valued for mankind. They are the rainforest of the ocean, and they house 25% of all marine life, and they cover only the 1% of all planet surface. They also play a vital role in food supply and coastal protection. But they are dying, and they're dying really, really fast. If we don't act now, we lose 90% of them before 2050. And 1 billion people will lose their livelihood and face a severe risk of flooding. Sorry. On top of that, the coastlines are constantly protected with solutions that have absolutely no ecological value. And reefs are being restored, however, without addressing the complexity needed for all species living in them. And to make an impact, we need to learn from nature. And now it's time. And at construction, we do have a solution. We use our innovative technology based on powder bed 3D printing. This technology allows us to print with natural and local material, and also recycled material is a possibility as well. It also allows us to have freedom of design, so we can replicate the intricate shapes that you can find in nature, and they are required by nature. So in addition, we can also have the capability to run a circular and sustainable process while capturing CO2. As you can see, our prototype EDFX is up and running, and we need to scale up our solution, and we need to build our Obelix. That is going to be our transportable, self-sufficient 3D printer that is going to be unique on the market. Our innovative 3D printed solution, they are designed inspired by nature with the goal to blend into the environment, helping the reef to be restored while protecting the coastlines. We lease our machine and sell our services all over the world, and even in the most remote areas where large-scale concrete production usually is not possible or is not available. And this is resulting in a tailor-made solution specific for each location. We combine the market of coastal protection and reef restoration, and we target a revenue of 60 million in 2027, covering only the 0.1% of our serviceable available market. So right now, we really are looking for investors because we need to scale up our prototype and we need to start making a difference, providing our printed that can be produced volumes and quantities that they can make the difference. So thank you so much for your attention, and please choose nature.
Thank you so much, Nadia. Martin, you have a question.
Yeah, hey, Nadia, thanks a lot for the presentation.
You're
Really
welcome.
Is there any alternative materials than cement or concrete? I know that that's the process and production of cement and concrete already has a heavy impact on the environment.
Yeah, no, we are looking for not Portland cement. Portland cement, the main impact is the CO2 that is released while you're producing it. That's why we focus on marine cement and limestone cement, so natural-based cement. I come from Italy, and for me, Roman concrete is a point of study and a point of starting on from. It doesn't have a lot of CO2 impact and is actually getting stronger with seawater. So the saltiness of the water with this specific concrete, it makes it stronger. There is also a material that I've been using, printing, that is totally without cement. It's called Sorel cement, but it's actually not using cement. That is based on a magnesium reaction with chloride and oxide, and is made from powder and liquid. The uniqueness of our technology is that you can use any material that you want that is powder and reacting with a liquid binder. Of course, we use cement, important cement, because it's easier. Everybody know it. You can use marine cement that it has a lower footprint of CO2, but also you can use a marine cement that is nicer, limestone-based cement, because everybody knows it, and you don't have to go through all the certification with the new material. But as soon as we have enough funding and resources for a good R&D, we're gonna go for it as well, for materials without cement.
Okay, very quick question. We're short in time, but who are your clients?
Our clients are governments, they are marine contractors, they are private owners of resorts, of tourism, cruise fisheries that they want to restore marine life for a good purpose. We are in contact with coral nurseries as well in Maldives and Seychelles. We are in contact with the governments of Hawaii, private companies in the Emirates, of course, Australia for the Great Barrier Reef, but we're also in contact with the harbor, so port authorities like the Port of Rotterdam, where we're based, to enhance the life in the rivers, in the lakes, everywhere there is underwater.
Great, super interesting. Not a lot of people have more questions. We're unfortunately out of time and have to move on, but please reach out to Nadia with the additional questions.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Alice is next one. She's representing Geosphere and founded Geosphere.
Hello, everyone.
Perfect, hello.
Can you see my screen okay?
Yes, slides are up.
Okay. So what if carbon neutral real estate was becoming a truly reality, an affordable reality? This is the ambition of Geosphere, a startup I've been co-founding in 2018 with the idea of transferring my underground expertise coming from 12 years in the oil industry. And today, the energy transition is not an option. Real estate professionals are subjected to more and more stringent regulations. There is an increase in energy price and an increase as well in traction for green assets. So there is no other choice than changing the way we heat and cool buildings. And geoenergy that consists in going into the ground at depths lower than 200 meters to circulate some water and bring some coolness in summer and warmness in winter can cut the energy consumption and CO2 emissions by large numbers. And today, they are very underexploited in most of the European countries because there is a lack of expertise for this technology. What we bring with our SaaS is precisely this geoenergy expertise being accessible to everyone With a simple, you just have to enter your address, and then we're using proprietary algorithm to determine both technical and financial indicators with modules ranging from the diagnostic phase until monitoring once the installation is performed. To do that, we're using our unique and patented technology we've been developing with a number of academic partners, and that has three main layers. First, we need to determine which kind of technology is accessible for our underground digital twin, but this is not sufficient. We also have to couple it with the building needs, thermal needs, and finance modeling. We've decided to address in priority the market of large landlords in France, Germany, and the UK, because for business reasons, it's the most accessible. And today we have 19 prestigious customers that have multi-billion in assets and more than 350 subscribers on our freemium. Our objective of impact is to avoid 370,000 tons of CO2, around 77% of Paris total emission, thanks to our experience and multidisciplinary team. I introduced my past in the oil industry within Schlumberger, and my associate has experience in startups, deep tech startups for 15 years, and he's been also participating to an IPO, so very complementary profile. Today, for our 2 million seed, we're looking to improve our product development as well as accelerate our business development, mainly in France and also for foreign countries. Thanks for your attention.
Thank you so much, Elise. Any questions for Elise? Maybe then a quick one from my end. Why do you think there's such a huge difference in Europe from country to country? Is it just lobbyism, or is there anything else?
So Sweden started equipping most of their houses 40 years ago. So it took them 40 years, and they never went to the gas option. Whereas in France and in most of the other European countries, we decided to go to gas for the heating of buildings. So yes, for lobbying reasons, potentially, but also as many a political reason as well. Where should we go?
Great. Thank you so much, Elise. If you want to learn more about Geosphere, please feel free to reach out to her.
One quick question, maybe. So
Katja.
how expensive is it for the landlord to use your SaaS solution and to set up the system?
Yes, so our price depends on the size of the buildings and the size of the customer itself. But today, with our regular customers, that the ones I mentioned, it's 50K per year. And typically with that, they can analyze 5 of their buildings, which means which is the regular the number of buildings they change every year. They usually have 100 buildings, and so they change their heating system every 20 years, which explains why they have these 5 projects of changing systems per year.
Thank you. Have to move on to the next one. Thanks a lot, Elise. Philippe, Climate Farmers, are you here?
Yep. Pleasure to be here with all these amazing initiatives. And now you should be seeing my screen.
Yeah, looks good.
Perfect. Yeah, it's a pleasure to be presenting you Climate Farmers. As the name says, we are at the intersection of climate change and agriculture. And I guess everybody in this group knows already that agriculture is at the same time the victim and one of the main causes of climate change. And that there is, with regenerative agriculture, one of the possible solutions to both of these issues, the agricultural and the climate change crisis. But the problem is everybody's getting excited about it. There's a lot of corporates that want to move into it, but it's still not scaling because there's a lack of understanding how to do it, and there's a lack of data. And this is exactly where Climate Farmers started back in 2019. And we focused more than 1 year on basically understanding the needs of farmers, building the biggest community of farmers in regenerative agriculture in Europe with more than 500 members, and then developing products which are exactly tailored to their needs. All of these products are basically independent from each other, but also interlinked. The first one is a transition blueprint process, where we basically look at the individual context of a farmer. We analyze their business context. We analyze the ecological context, so also the climate change risk for the future, the soil condition on their farm, and then we integrate them into a peer community and match them with one of our experts in order to develop a unique transition plan for them. While we're implementing the transition plans, we're collecting data. We're collecting this data on the one hand through satellite imagery, and on the other hand through a partnership with Wageningen University in the Netherlands and with the ETH Zurich in Switzerland in order to have mathematical models which allow us to measure the regeneration that is taking place on the farm, to collect data from the farmer as well, and to feed the results back to him or her so that the farmer can take better decisions towards this regenerative path. Based on this, we also developed our cash cow, which is our carbon plus or regeneration credit, where we basically measure the increase in carbon in the soil and the farmers in the transition process, as well as the water filtration rate of their soils and the increase in biodiversity on their farms. From these measurements, we're developing our first basically cash cow product, which is our carbon plus certificate, which we're selling for 50 euros per certificate. We're selling 3,400 certificates at this moment in this year, and we're planning on growing this to 80,000 next year, 350,000 in 2024, and 1 million in 2025, at which point we will also reach profitability purely based on the carbon plus certificates. Around this, we're basically building a data platform where we have several different data points feeding into it from some of our partners, as well as our farmers and our academic institutions, in order to unlock the giant field of regenerative agriculture for farmers, corporates, as well as insurance companies, in order to scale regenerative agriculture at large. We received initially the Google Impact Challenge grant of 650,000, and now we're raising our seed round of 2 million, of which we have 500,000 already committed. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Philippe. Martin, you have a question.
Hi, Philippe. Thank you so much for your presentation. Really exciting. How are you partnering with any verification bodies, or do you just verify it yourself? There may be some sort of misaligned incentives if you also verifying it yourself.
No, that would not be possible to sell, luckily. Now we're working with TÜV together, which is a German verification agency, and then we're also selling everything through a blockchain verified registry, which is the Region Registry, which just managed the sale of 100,000 carbon plus credits to Microsoft. So we are double verified, basically.
Got it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much, Philippe.
My pleasure.
Switching gear. Jambo, are you here?
Yes, I am. I think I am already sharing the screen, right?
You do. The floor is yours.
Perfect. Thank you. Hi, everyone. I am Jambot from Globi, the pioneers of crowd droning. Drones have evolved from toys to high-tech assets in multiple industries, requiring high-resolution imaging and sensors. That's why we offer Earth observations by drones for a sustainable future. In a nutshell, we send out local drone operators to collect high-resolution data globally through our platform. We are a software-as-a-service company. How do we do that? Thanks to our more than 5,000 drone operators covering more than 100 countries. In this way, we can reach remote locations worldwide in a matter of clicks and scale any drone project globally. We do this to complement the current offer of satellite imaging and provide a 1 centimeter resolution for the best decision-making process based on near-life data. Currently, we're in the process of disrupting the global drone data business by going from several different prices given by drone operators around the world to standardizing it into pricing per megabyte, making it easy and predictable for our clients. We divide this by open data, where basically anyone can purchase the dataset already collected by our drone operators, or closed data, where there is just one owner in case the client wants it to remain confidential. To make this process as efficient as we can, we offer an API integration directly to our clients and partnership platforms for an automated process. Today, we find ourselves with a clear and powerful value proposition compared to other data companies. Globi offers high-resolution, fast delivery, near real-time data on a global scale. Now, who uses our data? Earth observation institutes for environmental monitoring, humanitarian organizations such as the United Nations and the World Bank, forestry entities for reforestation, monitoring, and verification, research institutes fighting malaria in Africa, private renewable energy companies for topographic mapping, and many more. But each one of them uses drones and drones data to improve traditional data collection methods or even to create new use cases in their industry, thanks to this technology. Within 3 years, we aim to have a fully automated platform, reach 10,000 drone operators, and $10 million in revenue. We are looking for investors that support and share our sustainability and social impact mission. That's why we're asking for $3 million in investment. This is Globi and our truly diverse team of 9 different nationalities based mostly in Sweden and in the US. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any questions? No. Okay. Okay, then let's thank you so much again. And if there are any more questions, oh, we have a question. Can you give a few examples of customers?
Yes. In the private sector, we just have a renewable energy company mapping location in Cyprus for a pre-installation of a solar park in a topographic mapping. And in the public entities, we just work for a forest governmental entity here in Sweden to collect data of a forest and monitor the health of the trees.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving on to the last startup before the break. Aubio, are you here?
Awesome. Yep.
Robert, perfect.
1 sec. Can you see this?
Yes, slides are coming up.
Awesome. Cool. So we are Aubio, and with Aubio, we are monitoring methane emissions with satellites. 0.2 degrees Celsius. That is the exact current global warming from the 1 degree Celsius we already reached as society. 0.2 degrees Celsius of that is only due to methane emissions from oil and gas infrastructure. So picture natural gas leaks, leaking valves, or unlit flares. But the oil and gas industry has thus a massive problem. First of all, shareholders and regulators are picking up on this massive climate problem that the oil and gas industry has and are introducing frameworks for measurements and regulatory reporting and reduction strategies. Secondly, the oil and gas industry and all stakeholders that surround it, like the finance industry, don't have any methane emissions data they could potentially use, especially on their global portfolios of data of assets. So picture assets in Algeria, in Russia, in the US. There's no common and standardized data capturing process in place that could possibly tackle this problem with the oil and gas industry. So what we're doing with Aubio, we have developed a processing algorithm that is capable of analyzing non-methane specific satellite data sets. So that is basically anything that is actually not intended to be used for methane emissions analysis, but thus comes with attributes that are really, really necessary. Those 3 attributes are mainly global scale data, so analyzing any asset on the world, highly frequent data, being able to see any asset in the world very frequently, and thirdly, very important, on asset level accuracy. So being able not to see regions or countries, but seeing each and individual asset and thus being able to integrate company and portfolio level methane emission scores. So basically that's what we're doing today. We have built a platform, and the big backend to that is a processing capability that is able to take any asset in the world and analyze the methane emissions footprint of that asset in a very high frequent manner. With that, we're able to create and aggregate a lot of assets for, let's say, finance companies, oil and gas operators, data aggregating companies that want to understand methane emissions portfolio footprints for certain assets, for certain operators, for supply chains, and thus make better decisions on their investment and buying decisions. So the market is pressured heavily on getting those solutions in today. During our product development, we have taken a lot of time in testing out this use case with a lot of different markets. And we're launching our full-scale product in September time towards the finance and data aggregator beachhead market. And we're raising our pre-seed round as well. We have currently our pre-seed round open for 850K, have a lead investor secured with roughly half of those 850K already taking up. And would be loving to have additional partners on this journey. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Robert. Any questions for Aubio? From Alejandro, can the technology be used to measure other types of emission as well?
Great question. So it's not our focus at the moment, since there is a lot of focus on this, for example, on CO2 emissions already in the market. And we really see our angle of being the first in the market that are able to generate methane emissions analysis on global scales. But yes, theoretically we can, and we're thinking about especially going into other emissions like NOx. There's also a bit of a side stream that is able to go into hydrogen emissions detections and yeah, but it's not on our core focus at the moment.
Next question is from Connie. Does the technology quantify emissions, and what data inputs do you use? Do you need to launch additional satellites?
Very good question. So yeah, we are not only detecting, we are quantifying, and that's really a need that is drastic at the moment, because it's not only about knowing where to reduce emissions, but it's actually massively also on reporting and estimating risks big time. So that's exactly for the finance industry a massive thing. And we know we don't need to launch our own satellites, as we have built the capabilities of using non-methane specific satellites. We have a wide range of public satellites that we can tap into and just use for our analysis.
Great. Thank you so much, Robert.
Thank you.
And I have to say, I'm impressed. We're exactly on time for a very short break. Huge thank you to all the startups that already pitched. Super smooth, impressive what you're working on. I hope you all get your funding that you need to continue your journey. We have a very short 2-minute break before we continue with the next 10 pitches. Just like get quickly out, get a drink, have a bio break, and we see each other again here in 2 minutes time, and we'll kick it off with Simon from Cabo. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Simon, I think you might have to unshare and present again. Yeah, now it's coming up again. Okay, welcome back, everyone. I know it was a short one, but it's late already here, and I'd like to make sure we can all finish all the pitches in time. In case you wonder why it's so late, we have a mix of American and European investors here, so we'd like to make sure both of them can join. But I shut up now, and I'll hand over directly to Simon to talk about Carbo.
Hi, everybody. Thank you, Stefan. I'm Simon. I'm one of the co-founder of Carbo, and one short thing about me. So I did my e-coming out, meaning my coming out ecologic, like 5 years ago. So it means that I don't take planes, I don't eat meat, and so on and so on. So I'm wondering, when did you did your e-coming out? What do we do at Carbo? At Carbo, we really are on a mission. Our mission is how we accelerate ecological awareness to the people, the citizens, and the companies to reduce right now our carbon footprints. And at Carbo, we have like two main stuff to try to reach this mission. We do that with technology for sure, and the data we have made, and we have a huge angle with pedagogy. I'm 100% sure that in the future, the CO2 equivalent and the carbon footprint will be one of the units in the world. Basically, we have two solutions. We have a solution for citizens that is free, and it's like a solution to be aware of your carbon footprint on an individual level. But our business is really based on our B2B SaaS solution. So we provide to the SMBs company a solution to help everybody to do your carbon footprints. And we have to imagine that today the companies, they do their P&L, the finance side on your activity, but in the future, all the companies, they will do their carbon footprint calculation. So our solution is based on collective intelligence, and it's like a collaborative platform. I can show you like on the next slide. So it's easy to collect all the data of the company. It's pedagogic, it's collaborative, and it's like not that expensive. So that's the solution we provide to companies in France, in Europe, and in the world. Basically, where we are right now at Carbo, we just reached 200 active customers, so that's cool, and 500K of average annual recurring revenue. So that's where we are right now. Some of our customers, perhaps you know one of them. Just to let you know that we have on our solution more than 5,000 people that use it. What can I say more? Yeah, we build at Carbo, like they exist different kind of software on the market, but first we want to create like a real brand that's made on Carbo. Secondly, we have like different partnership with banks, for example, that provide customers to us. Third, we are one of the only companies that we are not making consulting. We are making like a product-centric approach, and we have a database that it's able us to transform every data in CO2 emission. That our mission plan, it's important to say we have like different mission plan. And just to finish, I think our utopia in the world, it's the carbon footprint is going to be the new worldwide unit. And just to finish in 10 seconds, we did a pre-seed last year. We are looking now for 3 million euros. We are 20 people, and we'll be happy. We have like some French investor that are already in the finance, but we are looking for more European and overseas funds to help us to go faster, not only in France. Thank you very much, and it will be a pleasure to speak with you guys and yours.
Great. Thank you, Simon. Any questions for Carbo? Okay, so yeah, if there are no more questions right now, feel free to reach out to Simon if you have them later, and we move on to what makes it different, Caroline.
What makes us different is that we build like there are many things, but one of the difference is in our products. The product we build is collaborative. In average, we have like more than 10 people in the company that are using our product to make kind of simulation for the future. Most of the products you can see on the market, they look at the carbon footprint in the past, but we help the people to reduce the carbon footprint. For example, if you hesitate between organizing 2 events, we are able to tell you which event is the less carbon footprint emission. So that's one of our difference.
Okay. Thank you, Simon. Moving on to the SPRK team. Sarah or someone else from the SPRK team, are you here?
Yes, it's me. It's Alex. Can you see my screen?
Not yet.
Trying again. Can you see it?
Still not coming up.
So I can see my screen. Can you see it also?
Nope.
No? Let me try again. Okay. There you go. Does it work?
Not yet. Oh, yes, now it's coming up. Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. Pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me. My name is Alex, founder and CEO of Spark, AI-driven food exchange to eliminate food waste in the supply chain and drive down climate damage. Now, 2.5 billion tons of food wasted every single year, which is insane, which is 6% of the supply chain, basically. I also learned 10% of our greenhouse gas emissions are caused by food waste. Largest CO2 emitters, if you like. So translating into 6.3 gigatons of unnecessary CO2 emissions every single year. So 2 massive problems. Now, why is that? Because believe it or not, the supply chain is not yet digital. There's a missing link between suppliers and demand partners to communicate in any digital fashion, causing food overproduction levels of 40%, massive problem, but also a huge opportunity to fix the supply chain, drive value, and protect resources. Now, if you allow yourself to think about this massive problem as a potential market, 2.5 billion tons of food oversupply times €1 per kilo, as an example, gives you $2,500 billion or euros as market potential. Crazy. And how do we do it? It's a matchmaking platform between pretty much everyone on the supply side, agriculture, producers, logistics players, wholesalers, retailers, and anybody on the demand side, like canteens using food, production companies, NGOs, and gastronomy. Now, obviously, this is about data. It's a huge data play, understanding, what becomes available as surplus and what, is required on the demand side, and then match, those two in a sharper fashion, in an ongoing way, using AI. And if you ask yourself, how do we make money? Basically, it's an arbitrage model, getting food for free. This is perfect food. It's not plan B. And then sell it at market price levels minus 10, 20%. Also, to move that food into production. So we don't produce food, we're tech, but we orchestrate production partners on the demand side, driving value from, say, tomato to tomato sauce or tomato ketchup, driving our value. And finally, I looked at Tesla's business model. We're in process of creating our own CO2 certificate as an innovative additional business model. Here we see a couple of prototypes. Here's one for you. So once again, we don't produce food, but we orchestrate these production companies to all IFS certified, either for B2C products or for B2B products, same recipe. Now, in summer 2020, so 2 years ago, we luckily made global first place at Extreme Tech Challenge Smart Cities, which gave us a huge boost in visibility. It's like a positive media storm in Germany, 200 clippings alone last year, which helps us to onboard partners. Oh, sorry. And partners, so we focus on SDG number 17, include folks from the supply chain like Compass Group as a demand partner running 500 canteens in Germany, but also Lufthansa Industry Solutions as a tech partner, helping us to build our platform, Inuit parties, from a systems point of view, and then also folks like GS1 Dean Fraunhofer to help us construct our CO2 certificate. Yeah, where we at today, we've rescued about 1,000 tons of food, 2.5 million meals, or 2,500 tons of CO2 equivalent. We're in the middle of raising our Series A, which is 13 million, targeting revenues of 8 to 9 million this year. And longer term ambition is to really crack a global problem. As you can tell, we're determined and we need your help. So thank you.
Thank you, Alexander. Any questions for Spark? Then maybe a quick one from my end. Where do you see like the biggest waste currently happening, and does it apply also with the biggest opportunity for you from a business point of view, or is that a whole different area?
Yes, it's an amazing opportunity. So most waste is driven by food and veggies. So perishable food, which is the largest category when it comes to food waste. So food waste is the wrong word. Food waste is a result of another problem, which is food oversupply, which is not communicated to demand partners. So like given that food, food and veggies, they change over time, like in the supply chain, basically, we need to be really fast. And this is where our technology kicks in to, once that surplus becomes available and we get notified, we already know the demand partner and move, food to food salad producers, for example. So fruit and veggies is the most important one to crack, which is our specialty.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to Carbominer. Nick, I see you already around.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay. Can you see it now?
It's coming up.
Coming. Good. Good.
Please go ahead.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Niko Seiko. I'm in Kiev, Ukraine, and I lead the Carbominer project. Just a second. When we eat a greenhouse-borne cucumber, we don't usually think about the associated carbon footprint, but it exists, and mostly it is linked to greenhouse heating issue only. When greenhouse owners burn natural gas for heating of their greenhouses, they also get carbon dioxide as a byproduct for free. And they use it for CO2 injection to speed up the growth of the vegetables and other foods they grow. However, with the upcoming climate regulations known as EU Green Deal, they would be forced to look for more sustainable options for heating. And as they would take such a step, they would be also forced to use for other options for sourcing the CO2, carbon dioxide for the CO2 injection. CO2, the liquid CO2 from the open market is neither cheap nor climate friendly. And this is exactly the problem Carbominer can help with. We are a Ukrainian startup developing new technology for direct air capture of carbon dioxide, and we are going to sell the CO2 capture to greenhouse operators to help them with the CO2 injection. We are going to produce the transportable capturing modules able for local capture. And so we are aiming to name our product as CO2 as a service. Our market is big enough. The total area, the total global area of greenhouses is 550,000 hectares, and it estimated as $7 billion US per year. However, not all the greenhouses are ready to CO2 injection. Only modern greenhouses are. So we estimate our sum as $1.1 billion US per year. And finally, we have selected the country of Spain as our beachhead market And the modern greenhouses in Spain are estimated as 5,000 hectares, mostly in the northern part of the country. So we estimate the sum as $68 million. We have started our journey 3 years ago in 2019, and since that time we have raised 4 investment rounds from our investor, SMRK VC fund, in the Ukrainian VC fund, totaling to $0.7 million. Now we are raising our next seed round in $500,000, and we are going to use that money for technology validation in the form of the pilot testing with a third-party partner. Our next milestone is with the positive validation results to use that to raise the late seed round of $2 million and to build our first production facility in Eastern Poland, to start the small-scale production later next year, to roll out to other EU countries, from Spain to other countries in the year 2024, and to get to break even in the year 2026. To do this, we have a very good team with the really complementary skill set, able to innovate and to move forward fast. On the core team is shown here. There are 9 FTE totally on board, and we really believe that CO2, carbon dioxide, will not harm the humanity. Instead, it will help to feed it. Thank you. It was the Carbon Miner presentation. Ready to handle your questions, if any.
Thank you very much, Nick. Any questions for Carbon Miner? Where do you currently have your operation?
Say it again.
Where do you currently have your operations, as you're like originally from Ukraine? How do you deal with the current situation?
We are still in Kiev, Ukraine. We are forced to left for 2 months from Kiev, but then we decided to come back, and we have relaunched our operations in the early May. We have rebuilt and relaunched our working prototype. You can check the link in the chat. Vika will help me with that link. So the latest news in our site has a link to a YouTube video, and our capturing machine is there. So we are in Kiev.
Great operating. That's very happy to hear.
Oh yeah, here it is.
Great. Thank you so much. And yeah, congratulations. I could not agree more. Not an easy environment to operate in these days, but hopefully things will get better soon. Moving on to Hortia. So Mark, we switch slightly gears. Share with that AI for greenhouses and what does it mean for Hortia?
Awesome. Hi there. Hi, so my name is Mark. I'm co-founder of Hortia, and we make artificial intelligence for greenhouses. 3 years ago, I asked myself a question: how is the clicker not working? 1 second. Yeah. How do we feed the world in times of climate change, with water scarcity, extreme weather conditions, and high and rising costs of resources? And the answer I found was controlled environment agriculture, and especially greenhouses. They are the most efficient and climate resilient way of growing food. But there is a problem. It is difficult to make a profit as a grower. You need years of expertise and trial and error to run a greenhouse on high productivity. And the current recipe-based way of growing, with sometimes manual planning and control, causes unnecessary waste of resources. Plants are constantly oversupplied. This recipe-based approach does simply not take into account that plants are organisms. Like us, they know stress, have a day cycle, and sometimes need a rest. So instead of oversupplying the plants with a fixed amount, just in case they need it, why not give the plants the right resources at the right time when they are actually ready to process it? And that's what we do. We created the first ever biofeedback loop. We measure the photosynthesis activity, and the well-being of the plant with our proprietary Ceres sensor, that's this pretty device, and feed that data into our green brain AI that then calculates the next best, the best next control action to control light, climate, and nutrition in real time. By that, we only give what the plant actually needs and can algorithmically max out the use of natural light and climate. This approach we started deploying as a software as a service for intelligent light control in commercial and research greenhouses with significant effects. We save energy, we increase yield, and overall reduce the direct costs. We currently have 4 pilot customers, first revenue, and work with strawberries, tomatoes, and cannabis. Our vision is to build the autopilot for indoor growing by giving plants agency to control their environment in every aspect. Simple to set up and run, resource efficient, and profitable. For that, we secured 1 million euros in pre-seed funding, partner with grow light manufacturers, and work with renowned research facilities. So if you would like to support our mission and catch a significant piece of that $178 billion CEA market in 2025, we would be very happy to talk and also answer your questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mark. Really impressive. And by the way, I like the background.
That's our research lab.
It's really great to see some real stuff, not just like software. Any questions for Mark? Maybe then a quick one from my end, like with the current cameras, like what's the area you can capture? Like how close does it need to be to the plant?
Yeah, it depends a little bit on the crop that you're monitoring, and it depends also on the microclimate that you have in the environment actually. So, but we consider 1,500 square meter per Ceres sensor.
And one question from Caroline: how much does your equipment cost to the farmer? One time, or is it monthly?
There is basically no initial fee. It doesn't cost you anything. You just need to set it up and you pay monthly. So it's a rental model or a service model.
Great. Thank you, Mark. If you
Welcome, it was a pleasure.
About Hortia, feel free to reach out to him. Moving on to Olaf from Orbisk.
Yeah, thank you, Stefan. Hi, everyone. It's a delight to be here. Let me share my screen. I want to tell you a little bit about myself, actually, to start off with, because I have to admit that I do like to sleep in. I'm a late sleeper, and when I'm a late sleeper, especially in hotels when I'm on a holiday, I'm generally the last person to enter the breakfast buffet and therefore also the last person to leave. And I took a picture of a breakfast buffet like that not so long ago. And basically, this is what it looked like when I was the last guest to leave that particular breakfast buffet. And it made me realize that every single item that you see in this picture went to the waste bin. But as this was a random hotel in a random city on a random day, it means that this happens in every city, in every hotel, and every day. This is quite a catastrophe for the environment, but it's also a significant profitability opportunity for our clients, and that's what we're grasping at Orbisk. Because 5% of everything that we produce in the world in terms of the food, we've seen us also in Alexander's presentation and so many other agricultural presentations, there's a lot of food being wasted. 5% of that is wasted in the food services industry. We're talking about 15 billion kilos. Sorry, this is EU, not US. About 100 billion kilos in the world. And just in my small country, the Netherlands, we're talking about 150 billion kilos being lost in hospitality waste bins every single year, meaning 500,000 kilos every single day, or at least close. So the most important person to enable to make this change is the chef. Let's call him Stefan for today. Do you like to cook, Stefan? By any chance?
Oh, yes, I do.
Yeah, there you go. Well, if you were to be a professional chef, you would start your day by buying the goods that you'll be needing to have delivered to your door, prepare them for your guests, and serve them to your guests. But unfortunately, as we've just seen, anything that isn't used will have to go to waste. That's where we come in, and we close this cycle to enable Stefan to do better next day and improve all of the other steps along the way. So how do we do so? We outfit the waste bin of a hospitality institution. It's standing right here next to me with the camera unit and a weighing scale down underneath right here. And every time something is disposed of, we scan that food and we throw it away. Within that half a second, we've seen the type of food, the amount, the time of disposal, and the reason of disposal with our AI image recognition technology. When visualizing this content in a tangible way, we can outline where the recurring surplus is, how to address it, and improve their waste levels or reduce them quite substantially by about 50% worth 25,000 euros and over per year for an individual restaurant. Today, we're at 100 plus locations, 130 actually today, in 8 countries in Europe, and we're expanding to the US in 2022. And we have the honor to work for and with some of the biggest clients in the space as well. And this is 6x growth since January, because of course you can understand how difficult Corona has been for us working for the food services industry. As entrepreneurs, we have a lot of experience in optimizing business operational excellence based on data, and our team has been growing of recent in the technical, but also the commercial teams. We have a number of, to me, very impressive advisors and very delightful investors on board, but we will be looking for a 7.5 million euro Series A. We just secured the EIC Accelerator grant of 2.5 million in the start of this year. So next year in summer, we'll be pursuing a acceleration round of 7.5 million euros to facilitate the growing of the commercial team, further expansion, and broadening the product portfolio. This would be my details, and I think that's my 3 minutes. Thank you, Stefan.
Thank you so much, Olaf. Liked how you include me in your pitch.
Always. From now on.
It's a really important area, so really great to see that you're trying to address this. Any questions for Olaf?
Then you probably have one, Stefan, don't you?
Oh yes, I have a lot of questions. But the first one is like, how do you see hospitality versus, like, for example, canteens from businesses?
Yeah, so I was referring to the food services business. So that's anything from corporate dining to hotels. In fact, our main clients now are the company caterers, as you've just seen, Sodexo, ISS, and the hotel chains, Accor, NH Hotels, Marriott very soon. There is a substantial amount of food waste in individual restaurants, very, very surely. In fact, my dream is to be able to help them one day, but they're considerably less chain organized like the hotels and the corporate dining facilities. So we work most for those, but the solution is fit for any and all.
So to challenge maybe what you're like offering, you basically install your service, you optimize your own, like, call it food production in restaurants, and then you get better in buying more smarter to reduce the waste, and your product is no longer needed then. That's the ideal solution.
It would be the ideal solution, Stefan, that's for sure. And I wish it was like that. And the unfortunate truth, which is also proven by academia, is that the control of food waste is like going on a diet. The moment you start focusing on it, you lose weight. And then, you know, when you stop focusing on it, you gain weight again. And that's actually, it's not even a metaphor. It's actually true. We've seen this happening. So I wish I was able to solve this solution until infinity for every individual restaurant. But the sad truth, I mean, not sad for my company, don't get me wrong, but the sad truth, it's not like that. So yeah, that's there's a gap of like 10 to 20% in your operations in the back end, and you have no overview of it whatsoever. So you want to be able to track this always.
I fully agree. Thank you so much, Olaf.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Great. Moving on to Kuri. Baptiste, are you here?
Yes, I'm here. Let me share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Great. So first of all, let me introduce myself. I'm Baptiste Malaguti. I'm based in Barcelona. I'm the CEO and co-founder of Curry. Apologies if I cough a little bit. There's a lot of pollen in Barcelona, so I have some allergies. So yeah, for most of us, grocery shopping still is a chore. Online grocery shopping was supposed to give us back the time that we lose driving down to the supermarket. But actually, online grocery shopping has been one of the slowest online categories. And it's not just because of the razor-thin margins, it's also the fact that the experience just isn't good enough to make a switch. Grocery delivery in its current state doesn't solve one major problem that households have to deal with every single week, which is figuring out what to put on the dinner table. And of course, the question, what's for dinner, becomes even more complex now that millennials and Gen Z are growing increasingly concerned about the impact of their eating habits on climate and biodiversity. And that's why we built Curry. Curry helps you plan your next climate-friendly meals in less than 5 minutes and get your groceries delivered by your favorite grocers in the next hours. Curry is the iOS app that elegantly answers what's for dinner with personalized, low-carbon, and shoppable meal plans adapted to what's in season near you. Since we launched and with $0 spent on user acquisition, more than 55,000 people have started using our app, which boasts a 4.9 average rating out of more than 2,300 ratings, has been featured dozens of times in the App Store, and also touted as the go-to app for climatarian diets by the New York Times. And people love Curry for its ability to elegantly help them figure out dinner and plan their groceries accordingly, yet effortlessly. Word of mouth has been super strong for us. On average, our power users recommend Curry to more than 5 friends. And if you're not familiar with meal planning or shoppable recipes, you might think, oh, this is yet another cooking app, right? But people use Curry not just as a cooking app, but as a habit-forming tool that saves them time, money, and ensures that they're never bored of what they eat. And soon, they'll be able to use it every week to get their groceries planned and delivered by their favorite grocer. Now, we're just about to launch our app subscription and make our meal plans shoppable through Europe and the US top grocers. A few years ago, the paradigm of shoppable recipes, as we call it, wouldn't have been truly doable. Grocers' APIs were simply not ready for this, but it's rapidly changing. We believe shoppable meal plans, if executed well, are going to be the next generation of online grocery shopping. So to summarize, we're building a next-gen grocery shopping app with shoppable meal plan. We've built and launched a product people love using that perfectly adapts to Gen Z and millennials' growing interest for climate-friendly diets. So if you're excited about our mission, knowledgeable about online grocery shopping, or love subscription apps, we'd be happy to meet. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Baptiste. Any questions for Curry? Okay, then a quick one from mine. First of all, congrats to the store ratings. 4.9 out of 5 is quite impressive. From like the markets that you are focusing on, which ones do you think have like the biggest opportunity?
Yeah. So when it comes to the business model, right? Because we have the subscription, we have the grocery delivery. So the one I most believe in is the shoppability of the meal plans, like tying up with grocers to deliver groceries, because it's a growing market. It's ripe for disruption because the experience still is quite boring, but there are new actors in this space. And I think if you can build something that people love using week over week because they love the quality of the meals, because they love the convenience, and it saves them money, I think this is the bigger opportunity.
Great. Thank you so much, Baptiste.
Thank you.
Moving on to Empower. Empower team. I see Knut is here and presenting. Perfect. Thank you. You're still on mute, Knut.
You hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you and see your presentation.
Yeah, so sorry for that. No, I had to step in for Willem. He's at Extreme Tech Challenge. So I'm at a conference, so I tried to find a quiet corner here. So imagine a world without waste. So Empower believes that to solve this challenge, the world needs a decentralized waste management system where collection of waste is incentivized and segregation at source is done everywhere. The waste is then tracked through the value chain in order to ensure it stays in the economy, creating a foundation for a global circular economy. Globally, waste has come as a side effect to the growth of a linear economy and turned out to be a severe global issue. It comes with a huge cost to society, nature, and human health. Globally, more than 300 million tons only of plastic is discarded every year, ending up in landfills or incinerated. This is predicted to double by 2050. So counting just for plastic, we waste at least $300 billion per year of material value. So Empower has developed a system where jobs are created, waste pickers and collection organizations are given the possibility to be part of the formal sector at the potential of financial inclusion, all while we are cleaning the world of waste. The Empower solution helps actors move from a linear economy to a circular one and enable producers to get hold of recycled feedstock they need. It's instrumental that collection and segregation happen at source, easy access to data on when and where this material is, and document where it's coming from. So we are the fastest growing collection network in the world, now with users in 60 countries and growing with 5 to 15 new organizations every week. We are on target to have 200,000 tons of material registered on a platform this year, creating the foundation for a global decentralized waste collection system. So we track the collected or the materials from collection and into new products, creating an immutable ledger that follows the materials through the value chain, using the data to create product passports, certificate of origin, and all this is secured. So Empower's business model is built around the tracking platform, where users pay a monthly subscription fee with a fixed fee as well as a fee per ton of the materials being tracked. During the last year, the platform has gotten to a commercial MVP level, and we are having a steadily growing number of paying users, building unique know-how, increasing volumes, and also starting increasing revenue streams from all part of the value chain. So Empower has been globally recognized as a key solution to plastic waste, both by European Commission and by Expo 2020. In addition, we are part of several global networks like the SAP IO, where we are now integrating with the SAP systems, Plug and Play, Alliance to End Plastic Waste, Prevent Waste Alliance, EU Amplifier, and more. We have a very diverse team coming from more than 10 different countries, and that's proven to deliver continuous strong growth and building unique know-how now over the 4 years. We have attracted advisors from major international market leaders with various areas to guide us. So we are preparing for an A round later this year. So please reach out if you're interested in knowing more.
Thank you very much, Knut. Any questions for Empower? Okay. Thank you so much, Knut. There's one. Do you focus on particular industries or verticals?
Not really, no. So, I mean, the platform in itself is agnostic. So we are tracking not only plastic, but all kind of materials. But I mean, we are focusing now to get like large manufacturers and brands in as customers. So yeah. And we want them to pay for the cleanup. They are the ones responsible for a lot of the waste that's out there. So yeah.
Absolutely. Great. Thank you. Thank you, Knut.
You're welcome.
I'm moving to the next one, Global Changer. Tobias, are you here?
Yes, I am. And now you should also see my screen in full.
Yes, it's up and running.
Perfect. Yeah, thanks, Stefan, for the opportunity here. I just want to leave you, if you go away tonight, leave you with this number, which is 7 years, 1 month, and 13 days. this is how much time we have left to limit the global warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius. And this is basically our sole mission at Global Changer, empowering companies now to act fast and reach zero emissions. Why is this now changing that fast and the pressure increases? We see new regulations coming up like the EU Taxonomy, CSRD, Supply Chain Act, financial companies putting huge pressure on the companies to move now, and also trickling down through the supply chain from large corporates to their suppliers and so on and so forth. But this leaves a lot of companies in difficulties getting from this ambition to the action side. And we see a lot of different things from lacking time and resources, transparency, know-how, or like pure data chaos that's happening in coordinating the reduction. And this is where we come into play. We build a decarbonization platform for B2B customers, making sense out of the emission data, plan, simulate, and execute everything looking forward. So we really can facilitate into the next 7 years a successful climate transition. And we see that calculating the emissions is really not enough. It looks into the past, but we rather need to also look into the future, predict it and analyze it so we can have the way forward downwards. And for our technology, we create automated CO2 reduction roadmaps for companies over the next years out of a database of 300 reduction measures and also a lot of solution providers behind it. We've done quite some significant growth in the past months, working also with large banks, insurance companies, family-run companies, and also stock-listed companies, and built that on a SaaS business, targeting companies over 250 employees, and also, as mentioned, build a marketplace behind it to scale it even further. We grow also through implementation partners such as banks, insurance companies, or consultancies, and are integratable with a lot of EHS or carbon accounting companies as well. We do have a strong team, multiple years in the industry from sustainability to tech, people with multiple exits, also current investors, and a total team of 13 people. And we're in the final stage of raising our seed round, and I kind of have one ticket left with around 500K to 1 million out of 3.5, and I'm looking to close in the next week. So there's a small window of opportunity, I would say, and happy to get in touch and let's decarbonize our planet together. And here are my contact details as well.
Thank you so much, Tobias. With what you're offering, that should fill quickly.
Yes, absolutely.
Any questions for Global Changer? Yeah. Okay, then thank you very much. And yeah, if you have any additional questions, please reach out to Tobias or in general everyone else later. Moving on to ICEEP from Switzerland.
Hi, Stefan. Thank you. Wait, let me share my screen. Let me know if you see me. You good?
Yes.
Very cool. Hi, everyone. My name is Petros. I'm one of the co-founders of ICEEP, and we're a tech startup involved in a new area of the market, which we refer to as e-commerce, re-commerce, sorry. Sadly, our society has a very dysfunctional relationship with how we manage and value our resources. We spend billions every year to hunt these down in some of the most remote and pristine areas of our planet. Reputable organizations even suggest that we should start mining celestial bodies such as asteroids. Yet we take these materials, we build the products we love, and then we dump them in landfills across the planet. This is what really brought to life, what sparkled to life ICEEP. Basically, we want to bring an end to post-consumer waste. We want to make sure that the things we buy, mobile phones, sports equipment, clothes, even furniture, never end up in landfills again. And the concept behind how we went about doing this is really pretty straightforward. Just the way brands today depend on platforms like Amazon or Zalando or Galaxus to bring their products to their customers, we built ICEEP, a reverse e-commerce platform that takes those products back. Basically, we help brands close their product loops and deliver to their customers an end-of-life take-back service. But what does it actually mean to close a loop for the brand? Basically, it consists of 3 key components. It's the service itself, so the take back of its products from its customers, putting in place material recovery partnerships with recyclers, for example, and considering the option of taking ownership over the second-hand market of their products. And basically at iKeep, we came and brought all those components together through technology. We digitalized the touch point with the consumer and converted the take-back scheme into a very sharp commercial tool. And digitalization and data now helps the brands that use iKeep to really have ownership and control into how their products move into these reverse value chains. To deliver our service, we came up with a new type of business model. We call it circularity as a service. So basically, any brand can plug into the iKeep ecosystem. It can make its take-back available to its customers through the iKeep app. We give them a set of analytics tools, which allows them to track the performance of their take-back. And as a development roadmap, basically, we're building a white label version of iKeep, which is a plug-in to e-commerce platforms such as Shopify, but also offer a second-hand option for the brands that are in the iKeep app. But what makes iKeep really special? Basically, if you're a brand today in the year 2022, you need to be interacting with these 3 strategies. You need to intensify your customer touch points. You need to deliver solutions and experiences that drive customer lifetime value. And you need to really actively tackle social and environmental challenges linked to your business. Basically, what we did is we looked at a different angle of e-commerce and delivered a solution through iKeep that helps brands really engage with these 3 strategies very strongly. How did we get here? iKeep's coming up to its 2nd birthday. In this time, we're recognized as one of the leading innovators in the circular economy space of Northern Europe. We've actually been commercially active for 9 months. We're clocking in 1 brand a month. We expect to have 30 brands joining iKeep by the end of the year. We've raised 500. We just closed our funding round now for 500,000. And we have a runway of 12 months to bring those new product features to life, to extend our service reach into Northern Europe, and basically go into a next round of funding for 3 million Swiss francs. In this time, would love to connect with anybody that would be interested to learn more about iKeep and join our journey in the next round. Thank you very much, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much, Timothy. Any questions for iKeep? Maybe then a quick one from my end. Where do you see in which area the most need for it, and where like customers are not really prepared for it? Like fashion, I think, is an obvious one, but which other areas are?
Well, consumer tech is a really good one. I mean, we see Apple already in the space very strongly, and they've already taken control of that. Being Apple, they do it their own. But I think the ones that are going to come nicely, and IKEA also does it. So, I mean, there are IKEA's doing it. And then in the toy industry, Lego is already looking at these type of solutions. So they're all really there, and they need to deliver this service to consumers. It's just they haven't really figured it out perfectly yet. And that's how we try to come in and make it easy for them.
Okay. Thank you very much, Timothy.
Thank you, Stefan. Thank you for today.
And moving on to our last startup for the day, Treaty from the Netherlands.
Hey, Stefan, how are you doing? Good to be here.
Thank you. I know it's not easy to be the last one, but we can finish with a big bang.
All good. We'll switch it up next time. Share my screen. 1 sec. Everybody seeing this?
Yep, it's coming up.
Fantastic. All right, so I'm Mike. I'm one of the co-founders of Treaty, and we are an impact tracking and reporting solution for funders and the founders that they invest in. So essentially, a growing trend is happening where regulators and LPs are forcing funds to really get their act together and start tracking and reporting the impact of their portfolio properly. And this is reflected in the EU in the fact that 65,000 funds in the EU alone are following under this regulation as of this year, which creates a yearly 1.15 billion euro total addressable market in the EU for this kind of reporting alone. That's not even mentioning other impact reporting outside of the EU. So 3D software basically makes something very complex simple to do. So it's an easy to set up system that tracks impact in real time for the investor, which saves a lot of time and money as opposed to hiring consultants or working manually in Excel. And a client of ours has basically only has 10 portfolio companies in their portfolio, and they're already saying it's too much for that kind of work. The expertise and the data provides skill set gaps and benchmark gaps that the customer has, and our flexibility provides the ability to support the unique impact goals of a fund, but not having to worry about regulation. The proof is in our growing base of customers. This program is actually was our launching customer late last year. And the customer base is growing with companies like Privium, who are a fund manager that manage over 3 billion in AUM, to smaller impact funds like AgFunder and Grow. We've already got 135K signed for this year, annual recurring revenue, and well on our way to go beyond the 400K target for this year. Diverse team of impact growth with an impact growth mindset. Hatem and myself, the founders. We have our tech team in Mumbai, India, which is where my co-founder is from. And we are building the impact specialist team here in the Netherlands. We're looking for 500K in funding. That is to fund the growth of our tech team, the growth of our impact specialist team, as well as marketing. But more importantly, we're looking for clients. And I know that in this crowd today, there are multiple VCs that will fall under regulation or that are already investing in impact. So we'd love to hear from you, how you are dealing with this right now, what your plans are, and whether you have any challenges that you're facing with regards to regulation. And always looking for partners, of course, to help us along the way. We're Treaty. I'd love to hear your questions.
Thank you very much, Mike. It's, I think, a great closing because you touch up on an area that we haven't really seen today in one of the presentations. And I think it's really important to highlight that this part also needs to evolve and move forward. And any questions for Treaty? From Alejandro, how are you measuring impact currently? Do you use a particular framework?
No, we don't use a particular framework, actually. So we've built the system completely flexible to support any framework. There's so many different standards and frameworks out there right now that although there is a lot of consolidation happening right now already within these frameworks, it's still very kind of fragmented. So we set it up to support any framework. We do, of course, advise in best practices and regulation. The EU regulation is obviously a type of framework that everyone will have to adhere to. But for now, it's flexible.
Thank you. Any other question from Michael? Three, two, one. Great. Thank you so much. We've done 20 presentations. I hope you have had a chance to digest all of them. If not, no problem. I will share like a one-pager with all the startups afterwards, and like 2 days later or so also the recording of the event. So you have an opportunity to digest it again and again and again and decide who should receive your support. So I would like to say thank you so much for all the startups that pitched today. I know it's not easy to pitch in front of an audience in a very crisp and short time way, how you want to grow and what you want to achieve and share your vision, and yeah, for some people also dreams. So I would like to say thanks a lot for making this demo day a success, and I hope you all will have great follow-up conversations with investors. And yeah, huge thank you from our end. Like, I'm very proud of you being part of our Google SDG program, and I hope we'll continue the conversation. We have a lot more also in the pipeline from our end. And yeah, and investors, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to each of the startups directly. If you, for whatever reason, do not receive the name in your inbox of the startup or the individual behind each of the pitches, just contact me. I'm happy to do the intro and connect you as well. With that, thank you so much, everyone. Again, perfectly on time. Very impressed. I hope we'll see each other soon again, and have a great evening.
Ciao, everybody. Have a good evening.
Ciao.
Many thanks. Have a good day.